This is The Sleeping Dragon, part 3 of the series Living with Bipolar. I guess I'll just pick up where I left off, which was me dropping out of my master's program. So, I dropped out of my master's program around mid-October 2011. Yep. And I fell into a really calm low. Like, it was really not caring at all. Scary not caring. Suicidal thoughts all the time. Not caring about anything at all. I slept a lot, like a lot. I was probably awake for 8 hours a day. And when I was awake, I was staring at a wall. I was on risperidone at the time. Risperidone's brutal. I mean, it makes you feel like The Walking Dead. Like, it knocks you on your ass. Risperidone wasn't a good time. Like, I mean, I was already really depressed, and then to put risperidone on top of that, I was pretty out of it. I was on risperidone for probably 5 to 7 weeks. It's no good. I didn't like it at all. Like, I've tried a bunch of different medications, like Ritalin and lithium, but risperidone was brutal. So, yeah, I dropped out of my master's program, hit a really low, and I was in that low for a long time. Come December, I was still sleeping, not eating, it was bad. And then in January, things hadn't changed at all. So my psychiatrist recommended that I go to the hospital. And I didn't really care. So I went, packed my bags, I went. I thought I'd be in there for like 3 days. It ended up being just over 2 weeks, or 2 weeks, I can't really remember. But, what is there to say about that? Yeah, I remember waiting in the waiting room for, you wait for about 3 hours, right? So I was waiting in the waiting room, just not caring. I actually didn't care to, it didn't bother me to wait, because I could stare at their floor or their wall just as well as I could stare at a wall at my own house, so whatever, right? They ask you a bunch of questions like, oh, how are you feeling lately? What's your mood been like? Do you have any suicidal thoughts? And I'm thinking to myself, like, isn't it obvious? What am I going to say? Oh, yeah, my mood's been great. I've been really good. No suicidal thoughts. Of course I've had suicidal thoughts. I was admitted because I had suicidal tendencies. Anyway. Went through a series of questions like that. Anyway. What's there to say about the hospital? I met a lot of really different people there, obviously, but they're really good people, all with their own story. Yeah, I really actually enjoyed the social aspect of it once I got, it's funny, you go into there being the newbie, and you're like, you don't know what to do, you don't know where the kitchen is, you don't know how to get your own drink of water, it's weird, and then, by the end of the 2 weeks, I was, owning the place, right? I knew exactly where everything was, I knew who everybody was, I knew all their stories, it was just, I owned it. But, yeah, I don't know, you see a psychiatrist every day, there are support groups, social workers always there, but pretty much you lay on your bed and listen to music, if you were smart enough to bring your music, which I was. So I laid on my bed, listened to music. I had a really odd roommate. She was up all the time during the night, so sleeping was bad. But I got earplugs by the end. That was okay. I was on Ativan when I was in the hospital. Lithium, Bifenton, Abilify. Ativan was used for the anxiety, when I was playing Scrabble or something, and I would get social anxiety, they'd just pop you an Ativan and you're good to go. Ativan. Ativan's kind of fun. But, yeah. The hospital, I've never seen my parents so concerned. Like, self-harm, yeah, they were concerned. But when you're in the hospital, the people around you look at you so differently. They basically well up every time they look at you. Like, it's just, it's sad, it's heartbreaking, but at the time I was just like, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say. I'm hurting, and I don't even feel the hurt. Don't even feel the hurt. So the hospital was it was a nice break, and because you're in the state of not caring, you're not bored, right? Like, I played Scrabble and euchre and stuff like that when the volunteers came in. But I don't know. It was alright. But then 2 weeks later, I got out of the hospital. I was feeling a little bit better. I was still on lithium and Prozac and Abilify and Bifenton. I think I was on 4 things. And things didn't get better after the hospital. I mean, I was discharged, but things didn't really get better. They thought they had nailed they thought they had nailed the medicine, but they really didn't. It wasn't until March until things started turning around. March 2012. That's when I got put on Abilify, 10 milligrams, Bifenton, 120 milligrams, and Cipralex, 20 milligrams. Cipralex is for the OCD. It helps with the repetitive thoughts and things of that nature. Abilify is an antidepressant, and it also helps with irritability and anxiety. And Bifenton was for concentration focus for the ADHD aspect of what I have. But yeah, so in March, late March even, we figured out the proper concoction. And that's been working really well ever since. Like, I mean, it took some time to get used to, but overall that concoction's been really good. But that was the lowest point in, I can probably safely say, my life, was being in the hospital, and especially the months before being in the hospital. Just, you've never visited a place like that, with, like, in the sense of not even caring enough to kill yourself. You know, that's pretty low. Like, that's low. I don't know if it gets much lower than that, but that's where I lived for a while. And that's what put me in the hospital for some time. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the lowest low of my life. I'm going to finish with part 4, which is when things really turned around and what my life is like now. Okay, so check part 4 out. Alright, thank you for watching.